After studying this module, you shall be able to learn about different types of teeth, structures of various teeth and various functions of the teeth. To introduce you the topic, the adult human dentition comprises of 32 teeth organized in two arches. The upper arch is the maxillary jaw and the lower arch is mandibular jaw. Ever since the arches are symmetrical, each quadrant of the jaw contains the same number and type of teeth, like 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars and 3 molars in all 4 quadrants. Incisors are the broad forward facing teeth with smooth small biting boundaries. The canine or eye tooth is at the edge of the arch and has a piercing cusp. Each premolar typically has 2 cusps. The molars have 3 to 5 cusps and a wide biting surface to chew and crush food. The third molar or the wisdom tooth is the last tooth in the arch. If we see the structure of tooth, each tooth has a crown and a root. The crown is the visible portion that protrudes above the gum. The root is embedded into a socket in the jaw. The incisors and canines each have a single root. Premolars have 1 or 2 roots and molars usually have 2 or 3 roots. The crown of the tooth is capped by enamel, the hardest tissue of the human body. Under the enamel is dentine, which comprises the bulk of the crown and root. Unlike enamel, dentine is alive and very much capable of transmitting pain. In the center of the tooth, there is a cylindrical canal of soft tissue called the pulp. It functions to sense pain and throughout life slowly produces dentine, which narrows the diameter of the pulp canal as the individual grows. The origin is surrounded by a thin coating of bone-like tissue called cementum. The fibrous tissue known as the periodontal ligament grips the tooth in the jaws as it is implanted into equally the cementum and the bony socket barrier. By convention, in the United States, individual teeth are identified by dentists according to the universal system in which the numbering of tooth is done from 1 to 32, starting at the upper right third molar across to the upper leftward third molar and then continuing with the lower leftward third molar and concluding with the lower rightward third molar. Each number refers to a specific tooth bearing its own specific anatomy. Then dentist can examine an extracted tooth or an isolated one and determine its correct number even when some of them may look alike. Different numbering systems for tooth are used in the different countries. The dentition in case of children is 20 and they are also known as primary or deciduous or milk teeth. In children, premolars and third molars are absent. These teeth begin to erupt at the age of 6 months and are completely erupted by the age of 2.5 to 3 years. Primary teeth are lost and replaced by the permanent teeth starting at the age 6 to 7 years. In the universal system, primary teeth are labeled by letters A through T. Teeth surfaces can be named accordingly and like the surface of the tooth which faces outwards and towards face, cheeks and lips is known as facial, buccal or labial respectively. The surface facing inward toward the tongue is termed lingual. In case of front teeth, the biting surface is known as incisal, whereas in case of premolars and molars, it is known as occlusal. The adjacent of the tooth facing the center is called mesial and the side away from the center is called distal. Familiarity with these terms and the tooth numbering system will facilitate understanding further. This diagram shows the placement of the teeth. There are 2 types of teeth, the temporary and permanent, and the permanent dentition consists of incisor, canine, premolars and molars, whereas temporary consists of incisors, canines and molars and does not have premolars. Now, we will take one by one. Permanent maxillary central incisor. This is known to be the widest mesiodistally of whichever of the anterior teeth. The labial point towards of the maxillary central incisor is lesser curved as compared to the maxillary lateral incisor or canine, which ultimately gives the central incisor somewhat square or rectangular appearance. From this point of view, the crown approximately every time observed proportioned and generally designed, having a nearly straight incisal edge, a cervical line with even curvature towards the root, and a mesial side which shows a straight outline, whereas the distal side tends to be more curved. The mesial incisal slant is relatively sharp and the distal incisal slant is rounded. The lingual coating of maxillary central incisor is the reverse of that found on the labial part of the tooth. From the labial aspect, the exterior of the crown is even generally. Mesially and distally merging with the cingulum are the marginal ridges, and between the marginal ridges below the cingulum a shallow concavity is present, which is called as lingual fossa. The root is single and conical. The root of this tooth from the mesial part is cone fashioned and the top of the root is generally bluntly round. The cervical part of the crest is convex labially, although the arc is broad. The head of this tooth displays more bulk from the incisal point of view than one would expect from viewing it from the mesial or the distal aspect. Then coming on to the permanent mandibular central incisor. This tooth is the smallest of all the permanent tooth and is much smaller than its maxillary counterpart. The incisor edge is almost straight, meeting both the mesial and distal edge and approximately right angle. The crown has marked lingual inclination. The lingual surface is concave with bulbous convexity near the neck or the cervix. The single root of mandibular central incisor is observed to be very narrow mesiodistally and matches up to the narrowness of the crown, even though the root and crown are wide labiolingually. The length of the root is as pronounced as, if not higher than, that of the maxillary central incisor. The lingual area of the crest is even and displays very relevant or very less concavity at the incisal third between the unremarkable marginal ridges. The mesial area of the crown is curved and even at the incisal third and becomes broader and flatter at the middle third cervical to the contact area. It then becomes quite flat with a tendency towards concavity immediately below the middle third of the crown and above the cervical line. If you see the functions of the incisors, they are basically a trimming or cutting teeth. Their chief role is to pierce and break down the food in the course of chewing. It forms cutting blade of human masticatory apparatus. The lower moves against the upper incisor and help in biting, aesthetics and speech. Functions of the incisor is to support the lips and face as well. You see, as you are reading this right now, the sides of your lip that face your teeth are probably resting right up against your front teeth. Because of this, your teeth help form the overall appearance of your face. The permanent maxillary lateral incisor. This tooth is similar in morphology to that of the maxillary central incisor, but is much shorter and narrower than the maxillary central incisor. The labial surface is smooth and convex. The palatal surface is concave towards incisal edge and there is convexity in the cervical margin. It has a sharp mesioincisal angle and distally curving apex. Although the labial aspect of the maxillary lateral incisor may appear to favor that of the central incisor, usually it has more curving with a round incisal ridge and rounded incisal angles mesially and distally. The root appears as a tapered cone from mesial aspect with a bluntly rounded apical end. Every maxillary adjacent incisors display more convexity labially and lingually from the incisal point than maxillary central incisors. Now coming on to the permanent mandibular lateral incisor. This tooth is slightly wider than the mandibular central incisor. Its edge tends to curve lingually towards the distal surface. The disto-incisor angle is observed to be more curved than the mesio-incisal angle. The mesial surface is extended than the distal. The root is flattened mesiodistally and it is longer than the mandibular central incisor. Excepting the dimension, no noticeable dissimilarity is apparent between the mesial and distal surfaces of the central and lateral incisors. The incisal aspect of the mandibular lateral incisor offers a feature that can generally assist to identify this tooth. The incisal edge is not at estimated right angles to a line intersecting the crest and root labiolingually as found in the central incisor. The edge follows the curvature of the mandibular dental arch that provides the crest of the mandibular adjacent incisor the look of being twisted to some extent on its root base. We see the functions of the maxillary lateral incisors. They supplement the central incisor in function and the crown bears a close resemblance. And they are the main tooth that one uses to cut food into pieces while eating a whole apple. The incisors are the teeth that slice through the apple and help to get the piece of apple into mouth to be fully chewed by other teeth. Coming on to the permanent maxillary canine. They have well developed roots which are conical and long. The crown has single cusp and convex on all surfaces. The two incisor edges taper to form a single pointed cusp which is placed approximately centrally on the tooth. The distal edge is larger than the mesial edge. They are the longest teeth in the mouth. The crowns are frequently as long as those of the maxillary central incisors and the single roots are longer than those of any of other teeth. The mesial half of crown makes contact with the lateral incisor and the distal half is in contact with the first premolar. Mesially, the outline of the crown may be observed to be convex from the cervix to the center of the mesial contact area, or the crown may display a slight concavity above that contact area. The crest and root are slender lingually than labially. The mesial part of the maxillary canine represents the outline of the functional form of an anterior tooth. However, it generally shows greater bulk and superior labiolingual dimension than any of the other frontal teeth. Then coming on to the permanent mandibular canine. The labial surface is smooth and lingual surface is convex, but the features are less prominent than the maxillary canine. The mesial surface is somewhat straight and continuous with the mesial surface of the root. The mesial slope of the incisal edge is shorter than distal edge or slope. The crown is tilted slightly distally in relation to long axis. The root is single and has ovoid outline. If we see the functions of this tooth, their sharp point allows them to pierce through and tear the food. They help in chewing. Canine perform as the guide post when jaw is moved sideways, that is to the left or towards the right. If you slide your jaw to the left right now, you will notice that both the upper left and lower left canine teeth are sliding against each other. Then coming on to the permanent maxillary first molar. It resembles like canine when viewed from the buccal aspect. The tooth has got two cusps, buccal and palatal. The buccal cusp is larger than the palatal cusp. The mesial ridge is interrupted by a groove which is important diagnostic feature of one's tooth. The tooth has two roots, palatal and buccal. A distinguishing feature of this tooth is found on the mesial surface of the crown. Closely cervical to the mesial contact area, centered on the mesial surface and bordered buccally and lingually by the mesiobuccal and mesiolingual lines is a marked depression called the mesial developing depression, which can be viewed through this diagram. The crest is broader on the buccal than on the lingual. In permanent maxillary first molar, it is observed that the buccolingual measurement of the crest is much superior to the mesiodistal dimension. Coming on to the permanent mandibular first premolar. This tooth has got two cusps. Buccal cusp is much larger than the lingual cusp. The crown is trapezoidal and the occlusal surface slope is nearly symmetrical. The root is single with rounded contour and contains prominent mesial groove. From the buccal aspect, the form of the mandibular first premolar crown is nearly symmetrical bilaterally. The mesial surface of the root is smooth and flat from the buccal margin to the center. Coming on to the permanent maxillary second premolar. This tooth resembles the first premolar except the second premolar being smaller in size. The mesial slope of the buccal cusp ridge is usually found to be shorter than the distal slope. Usually the crown and root of the second premolar are thicker at their cervical portions. It is less angular, giving a more rounded effect to the crown from all aspects. No developmental depression is evident on the mesial surface of the crown as found on the first premolar. The crown surface is convex instead. A shallow developmental groove appears on the single tapered root. From the buccal aspect, the buccal cusp of the second premolar is not as long as it is in the first premolar, and it appears to be less pointed as well. From the lingual aspect, little variation may be seen except that the lingual cusp is longer, which makes the crown longer on the lingual side. Coming on to the permanent mandibular second premolar. It has a large buccal cusp and two small lingual cusps. The lingual cusps are larger than their equivalent mandibular premolar. The root is single and conical and it curves distally. The longitudinal grooves are not present in their root. From mesial aspect, the crown and root are wider buccolingually. Each cusp is seen to have well prepared triangular ridges delineated by deep progressive furrows. These grooves come together in a central pit and form a Y shape on the occlusal surface. If we see the functions of this tooth, they help the canines to pierce and tear food. The premolars have a couple of sharp points on them. They are not as sharp as the canines, but still help to pierce and tear the food. They help the molars to crush and grind food during chewing. The premolars also have a broad biting surface, but not as broad as the molars, and this helps them to crush and grind the food. They help with the aesthetics and speech, but not as much as the canines and incisors. The premolars can be visible more in some pupil than the others. For example, if you try to smile and observe whether your premolars are visible or not, do the same with your friend and observe. In pupil with wider smiles, their premolars show. Coming on to the permanent maxillary first molar. The crown is roughly trapezoidal in shape with cervical and occlusal outlines which represent the uneven sides. It has a large occlusal surface with four cusps. In about 60 to 70% of the caucasoid population, there is a fifth cusp called the Carabelli's cusp, and if present, it is always on the mesiopalatal surface. The mesial cusp is larger than the distal one. The four cusps are separated by H-shaped occlusion fissures. There are three roots, two buccal and one palatal. The palatal root is the longest. They are the major and strongest maxillary teeth by quality of both their bulk as well as their anchorage in the jaws. Although the crowns on the molars may be somewhat shorter than those on the premolars, their dimensions are greater in every respect. Then permanent mandibular first molar. Mandibular molar crown has five cusps, two lingually, two buccally and one distally. The buccal cusps are mesiobuccal, distobuccal and distal, whereas lingual cusps are mesiolingual and distolingual. The mesiobuccal cusp and the distobuccal cusp are separated by a prominent fissure. The tooth is rectangular in outline. The mesiodistal dimensions are greater than the buccolingual dimensions. The tooth has got two roots, mesial and distal. The measurement of the crest mesiodistally is superior by about 1 mm than the dimensions buccolingually. Two developmental grooves appear on the crown portion. These furrows are known as the mesiobuccal growing furrow and the distobuccal growing groove. Permanent maxillary second molar. The second molar is smaller in size than the first molar. It has got four cusps but without any Carabelli's cusp. The mesiopalatal cusp is the largest one. The distopalatal cusp is reduced in size. Somewhat it may be absent, giving tooth a triangular outline. There are usually three convergent roots which may be partially or completely fused. From the buccal side, the crest is a smaller cervico-occlusally and narrower mesiodistally than the maxillary first molar. The distobuccal cusp is found to be smaller and only permits portion of the distal bordering ridge and portion of the distolingual cusp to be seen. The apex of the lingual root is in track with the distolingual cusp tip as an alternative of the lingual furrow that was found on the first molar. Then coming on to the permanent mandibular second molar. The crown has got 4 cusps placed symmetrically at each corner at the rectangular occlusal surface. The lingual cusps are higher than the buccal cusp. The buccal surface is more curved than the lingual surface that appears straight when viewed occlusally. There are 2 roots, mesial and distal. They are flattened mesiodistally and lie parallel to one another. The crest and root of the mandibular second molar come mutually lingually but to a small intensity, hence insignificant observation of the mesial or distal surface may be seen from this aspect. Coming on to the permanent maxillary third molar. From the buccal side, the crest of the third molar is smaller cervico-occlusally and contracted mesiodistally than that of the second molar. The mesiopalatal cusp is the largest. There are usually 3 roots which may be partially or completely fused, functioning as one large root. They are shorter cervicoapically from buccal aspect. However, in many cases, a third molar teeth with the essential features has a poorly developed distolingual cusp with a developmental groove lingually. As of the mesial side, apart from the variances in dimensions, the chief feature is the tapering of the fused roots and bifurcation usually in the region of the apical third. The occlusal aspect of a typically maxillary third molar represents a heart-shaped outline. The third molar may show 4 distinct cusps, and this type of teeth may have a sturdy oblique ridge, a central fossa and a distal fossa with a lingual developmental groove which looks like to that of the rhomboidal type of second molar. Then coming on to the permanent mandibular third molar. This tooth is somewhat similar to second permanent molar because it has 4 cusps on rectangular occlusal surface, although it is generally smaller. The buccal surface is more convex than the lingual. The buccal cusp is tilted lingually. From buccal aspect, the average third molar also shows 2 roots, one mesial and one distal. These roots are usually shorter with a poorer development generally than the roots of first or second molars, and their distal inclination in relation to the occlusion plane of the crown is greater. From mesial aspect, the roots, these are tapering more from cervix to apex. The apex of the mesial root is usually more pointed. Functions: the molars, these crush and grind the food. Like I told you earlier, when we take a bit from an apple, we take it to our mouth by our incisors. When it comes in our mouth, the tongue drives it to the premolars and molars so that they can press it and grind it down into minute apple bits. They support your cheeks. Without your molars, your cheeks would appear to be sunk into your face. Then your molars play an important role in production of your cheeks look like a complete and vibrant. The molars has a minor role in speech. Molars do help you in talking, but it has a more refined role in one's mouth than the other teeth. To summarize this topic, the mature human dentition contains 32 teeth organized in 2 arches, one each in upper or maxillary jaw and one each in the lower or mandibulary jaw, that is both right and left side. The arcs are proportioned. Every quadrant of the jaw covers the identical number and form of teeth, that is 8 teeth in all 4 quadrants. These 8 teeth are comprising of 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars and 3 molars. Incisors are the wide front teeth with flat, thin biting edges. In US, the dentist recognized discrete teeth by the universal system that numbers the teeth from 1 to 32, beginning at the upper right third molar across to the upper left third molar and then continuing with the lower left third molar and concluding with the lower right third molar. There are 2 types of dentition, temporary and permanent. The permanent dentition comprises of incisor, canine, premolars and molars, whereas temporary dentition comprises of incisors, canines and molars only. Primary dentition doesn't have premolars.